Did you know that a single event in Sarajevo over a century ago set the world on a path to one of its most devastating wars? Welcome to History Today, this day, where we delve into the pivotal moments that have shaped our world. Today we're unraveling the complex story behind the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, the spark that ignited World War I. Segment 1, The World Before the Assassination. Let's set the stage for our historical journey. We're transported back to the early 20th century, an era dominated by the grandeur of empires, the rising tide of nationalism, and a complex network of political alliances that held the fragile balance of power in Europe. Among the major powers, Austria-Hungary stands as a prominent yet faltering empire, embodying the tumult of the times. Here, in the heart of this aging empire, we find Archduke Franz Ferdinand, the heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne. He is perceived as a beacon of potential change, possibly steering the empire towards modernization and reform. However, his presence and policies also highlight the inherent weaknesses and internal conflicts that plague the empire. His role is pivotal, not just as a successor to the throne, but as a symbol of an empire struggling to maintain its relevance in a rapidly changing world, teetering on the brink of monumental shifts. Franz Ferdinand's unique position makes him both a harbinger of hope for some and a target of resentment for others, encapsulating the complexities of an era that is on the cusp of irrevocable change. Meanwhile, in Serbia, the air was thick with a rising tide of nationalism, a powerful and emotive force stirring in the hearts of many. This surge was primarily driven by a fervent desire for Slavic unification, a dream that saw the disparate Slavic peoples united under a single banner, free from the influence and control of foreign powers like the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Central to this movement were groups like the Black Hand, a clandestine society shrouded in secrecy and committed to the cause of Serbian nationalism. Their vision of a greater Serbia, an expanded nation-state asserting its sovereignty and power in the Balkans, was a bold dream that directly challenged the existing political order. As these nationalist sentiments grew stronger and more widespread, the stage was unwittingly being set for a conflict of unforeseen proportions, a conflict that would ultimately extend far beyond the borders of Serbia or Austria-Hungary and engulf nations across the globe. Segment 3, The Fateful Day in Sarajevo. June 28, 1914, in Sarajevo remains etched in history as a day of stark contrasts, where celebration collided with profound tragedy. On this fateful day, Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria and his wife, Duchess Sophie, arrived in Sarajevo, the capital of Bosnia and Herzegovina, then a province of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. The city was abuzz, as it was both the feast of St. Vitus and the 14th anniversary of the royal couple's wedding. Unbeknownst to many, the visit was fraught with danger. Intelligence had warned of potential assassination plots, but these cautions were either underestimated or ignored. As the royal couple's open-car motorcade ceremoniously wound through the vibrant streets of Sarajevo, an initial attempt on the Archduke's life, a grenade thrown by a member of the radical nationalist group, the Black Hand, miraculously failed, injuring officers in a following car. Despite this harrowing incident, the day took an even darker turn. Deciding to continue with their visit, the Archduke and his wife could not have known that this decision would lead to a tragic encounter that would change the course of history. Gavrilo Princip, a young Bosnian Serb nationalist, finds himself at the right place at the right time, or rather, the most tragic. After an earlier failed assassination attempt on Archduke Franz Ferdinand, the Archduke's motorcade unexpectedly reroutes, bringing him directly in Princip's path near a Sarajevo cafe. Seizing this unforeseen opportunity, Princip fires his pistol. The shots he fires are devastatingly effective. Both Archduke Franz Ferdinand and his wife Sophie, Duchess of Hohenberg, are struck down, succumbing to their wounds shortly after. This act of violence is far more than a personal tragedy for the royal family or a shocking crime. It becomes the catalyst for a seismic shift in world politics. The assassination sets off a complex chain of events and national mobilizations, ultimately leading to the outbreak of World War I. It serves as a stark reminder of how individual actions, whether driven by nationalistic fervor or political beliefs, can have far-reaching and unforeseen consequences on the global stage. reshaping entire nations and the course of history. Segment 3, the domino effect. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand acted as a catalyst for an unprecedented chain reaction in the volatile political landscape of early 20th century Europe. In response to the murder, Austria-Hungary, bolstered by the support of Germany, issued a stringent ultimatum to Serbia, a set of demands so severe they were almost guaranteed to be rejected. This ultimatum in turn set off a rapid series of military mobilizations and counter-mobilizations across the continent. The intricate network of alliances years in the making was suddenly activated. The Triple Entente, comprising France, Russia and Britain, and the Triple Alliance, consisting of Germany, Austria, Hungary and Italy, found themselves drawn into conflict due to these binding agreements. This complex web of diplomatic ties and mutual defense pacts, designed to maintain a balance of power, instead propelled Europe into a large-scale war within mere weeks, underscoring the fragile nature of peace in an era of burgeoning nationalism and imperial rivalry. Understanding why the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand escalated into a massive conflict requires unpacking several key factors of the time. The intricate web of alliances that had formed among Europe's major powers was like a tightly wound spring, ready to release at the slightest provocation. Countries bound by treaties of mutual protection felt compelled to support their allies, turning a regional incident into a continental crisis. Adding to this volatile mix was the deeply ingrained concept of national honor, which made the powers reluctant to appear weak or conciliatory in the face of aggression. Leaders and citizens alike believed in the romantic notion of war as an honorable and swift resolution to disputes, underestimating the advances in military technology that would turn battlefields into prolonged theaters of carnage. This combination of rigid alliances, nationalistic pride, and a gross underestimation of modern warfare's brutal reality set the stage for a conflict on a scale the world had never seen before, dramatically reshaping the course of the 20th century. Segment 4, the wider consequences. The war that ensues following the assassination is not just a conflict, it's a global metamorphosis. Age-old empires, once unshakable in their might and glory, crumble into history's annals as the Austro-Hungarian, Russian and Ottoman empires disintegrate. In their wake, new nations are born, each with its own aspirations and challenges, dramatically redrawing the political and geographical landscape of Europe. This reshaping goes beyond mere borders. It sows the seeds for future global conflicts. The unresolved issues and resentments from World War I, particularly the harsh terms of the Treaty of Versailles, lay a precarious foundation for the rise of Nazi Germany, thus paving the path to World War II. Furthermore, the ideological rifts and power vacuums emerging from the war contribute to the onset of the Cold War, a standoff that would grip the world in a state of geopolitical tension for decades. This period following the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand thus stands as a pivotal juncture, not only altering the immediate world but also setting a course for the century to follow. The consequences of the Great War, extending far beyond the realm of geopolitics, mark a profound transformation in the fabric of global society. As the conflict that later became known as the Great War raged on, it unleashed an era of unprecedented destruction, forever altering the nature of warfare. The introduction of new, deadly technologies such as tanks, chemical weapons and advanced artillery paved the way for modern combat tactics and strategies, setting a grim precedent for future conflicts. Moreover, the war acted as a catalyst for sweeping social changes. It challenged traditional gender roles, as women took on roles previously reserved for men in factories, offices, and even in nursing on the front lines, sowing the seeds for the future feminist movements. Additionally, the war intensified global movements for national self-determination, as people across the world were inspired to seek independence and self-governance, leading to the disintegration of empires and the birth of new nations. This period not only reshaped the political landscape, but also left an indelible mark on the societal and cultural ethos of the 20th century. Segment 5, Reflections and Legacy. As we delve deeper into the reflections on the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, it becomes increasingly evident that this event was far more than a mere act of violence against a royal figure. In a world brimming with political tensions, complex alliances, and burgeoning nationalisms, this assassination acted as a critical trigger point. It set in motion a chain of events that would ultimately engulf the globe in warfare. This moment serves as a stark reminder of the intricate interconnectivity of global politics, societies, and economies. It underscores the profound impact that a single, seemingly isolated incident can have, spiraling rapidly into consequences of unimaginable scale. The ripples of this event extended far beyond its immediate aftermath, shaping the geopolitical landscape for generations and standing as a poignant example of how history can be redirected by a single moment in time. The enduring legacy of the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand and the consequential World War I is deeply embedded in the fabric of our current world. This pivotal event reshaped international relations, leading to the creation of new countries and the dissolution of empires, setting the stage for modern geopolitics. It introduced the world to the brutal realities of total war, influencing how subsequent conflicts were waged and perceived. Politically, it spurred the rise of new ideologies and the collapse of old monarchies, reshaping governance structures worldwide. Culturally, the war and its origins have seeped into our collective consciousness, influencing literature, art, and public memory, serving as a stark reminder of the catastrophic consequences of political miscalculations and the interconnected nature of global events. This historical moment, therefore, continues to be a point of reference in understanding contemporary international dynamics and the delicate balance of power that underpins them. Thank you for joining us on this journey through a pivotal moment in history. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand is more than just a historical footnote. It's a complex story with lessons that remain relevant today. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to History Today this day for more fascinating insights into the moments that have shaped our world. What historical event do you want us to explore next? Let us know in the comments below. Until next time, keep exploring history. This is History Replay this day. Thanks for watching. We will see you in the next episode.